All right, welcome to the first Fragments of Silicon review session of the new year, 2024. Right, so we are a week into the new year, and it's time for some reviews. 4 reviews up this week, the first of which is Macbat 64, or what was it, Macbat 64, The Adventures of a Lovely Chap.
Time ago.
Something like that. I don't have it in
Oh,
front of me at the moment.
Yeah, here we go. It's Journey of a Nice Chap.
Was ruled by
Or
the
the
evil
subtitle.
Melon King.
Right, Macbat 64 is a low poly 3D platformer.
Only one flightless bird was
in-
brave enough to stop.
It's another
his
one
reign of
in
terror.
the collection gathering. I'm not exactly sure what word to use because they're mostly unconnected, except for the Tori series.
And the galaxy
But
was
you know,
at
it's another.
Portfolio would be a decent enough thing.
Yeah, that works. That portfolio works the best, I think. So
Look at me
yeah,
knowing how the English language works.
for a change.
Fuck off.
Hey, I mean, you were making a self-deprecating joke not 10 minutes ago.
I guess valid.
Anyway, it's another low-poly 3D platformer throwback to the 90s from Theatrico. Like I said, I don't think we ever figured out how to pronounce that, but, we had him on the program a few months ago to talk about mainly the Tori series. I think Super Kiwi came up. I know Macbat was briefly mentioned, but it wasn't really a focus. But yeah, it's another one of those. It's another bite-sized platformer too. But it does play differently than the other platformers we've covered on the show here. Namely Super Kiwi 64 and Tori 3D. We showcased Tori 2, but we haven't reviewed it yet. Maybe in the future. Anyway, this is important because Macbat 64, because it stars a bat, plays differently and is designed differently than the other platformers we've covered. Especially since, strictly speaking, I don't think you could call this a platformer. Because, you're not really platforming. Rather, you're not jumping a whole lot or at all because, you're a bat, you're flying. It's not unlimited flight. You only get so many flaps before you flump down into the ground or the water, as the case may be. And the focus with this one is collectathon. And it goes, let's say, whole hog on the collectathon aspect. Specifically the Banjo-Kazooie help a character out, get a thing or get a certain amount of a thing, give it to them, and then get another thing. Less it's all jiggies. There's no coins, there's no notes, there's no smaller equivalent in this platformer. And the gameplay isn't really challenge based because this is a very easy platform. In fact, I don't think you can die. There's no actual enemies.
And no fail state type situation.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way of putting it because there is actually a boss level at the end, but the punishment is you get thrown off the side down a pit, and then you just get thrown back up. So yeah, there's no fail state. So this is boiled down even more basically than the other theatrical platformers we've covered on the program, which is actually impressive. Because, the other ones weren't exactly, opulent, downright gaudy affairs. They're very utilitarian in their own right. But like I said, this doesn't even have things like death, fail state death or actual challenge. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it is a thing. So that's probably going to measure into whether or not you want to get this. Like, if you're looking for more of a challenge, I'd recommend the Tori series, personally. If you're looking something, like the ultimate laid-back platformer, yeah, this would be it. And yeah, so you will go through a bunch of different levels, pretty much doing the same thing, outside of the break is a kart racing level, because you do have to get the main spin-off, to your 90s platformer in there as well. Like, admittedly, the kart racing level, it's pretty
I'm vaguely
perfunctory.
impressed that they let a bat exist in water without penalty.
Indeed.
Like,
Which, I mean, is accurate. Some bats can, swim.
Yeah. I'm like, that is fair.
But usually when you have a flying thing, they use, water as an excuse to, make it harder.
True. But, that goes back to what I was saying. This game doesn't have death or challenge or anything like that. So, of course, the water wouldn't be harmful. So, it fits in with what this game is going for, or at least what I assume it's going for. Like a very, very laid-back and casual approach. Now, there is a story in this game. Something about a melon ruining the land. I'll admit I was not paying attention at all with the cutscenes.
Yeah, something about a water factory flooding the planet or something. I don't know. I'm playing and I'm barely paying attention.
It's a platforming game. The stories are the most, tacked on, ill-constructed things imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
By design. Because,
it's an excuse plot if there ever was one.
And that's pretty much the case here. You've got a bunch of NPCs, including Super Kiwi over here, star of the hit game, Super Kiwi 64. But, like I said, it's nice that the levels have aesthetical variety here, but, when you get down to it, there's not much gameplay variety. There is a bit, you will come across the very occasional basic puzzle, which is another staple of platforming games. Maybe a more derided portion of, say, Banjo-Kazooie or whatever. But it's, it's still there. And in keeping with the micro-sized everything of Theatrico, they're very short and sweet. I think those are the words that would sum up my, feelings on this game. Very short, maybe not sweet. I'm trying to think. What would you call the flavor profile of adequate, without resorting to something like bland? Because I'm it's not bland. It's got, obviously being a throwback to 90s platformers. It's got charm and personality. Obviously not as much as, say, the heavy hitters, but, I do find this game more charming than, say, the really lame C-tier platformers. Like, anyone remember Scalar or Zapper?
What is it? Banks, Blanks, something like that? That was another
like
one.
That. Yeah. You get my point.
Uh-huh.
Like, this game does have an animal mascot, but it's not ripping off Sonic here. Like, in fact, I probably would have liked to have seen this character in the 90s. He would have been refreshing from all of the, just all of the fucking Sonic ripoffs. And that includes Crash. Like, because not only is Macbat a bat, he's a very dapper bat. He's
Look
got
at
a
him. He wears the monocle.
Yeah, and he's got a waistcoat and I want to say fez.
I have a special hat on him at the moment, so I would have to see when I get back to that.
Fair enough. But like I said, in terms of, like, the actual controls and everything there, it's solid. Really can't go more than solid. But, like I said, everything works and, is all competently arranged. Right, and there's also the occasional first-person blow dart segment.
Yes.
Once again, which reminds me of Tack and the Power of Juju. Was I the only one who played those?
I played the GBA one, so I don't think we're gonna count those.
No, those would have been 2D platformers.
There were more than one?
Yes, there were three of them. The four?
There were four or five. Like, there was
I thought it was four because I think fifth got canceled. I know one of the last ones got canceled because it wasn't doing very well.
Right, but I do know, like, there was a TAC game on, like, the DS, maybe the Wii. Like,
yeah, that would involve some research.
Yeah, more research than I want to do right now.
That is valid.
Like, there's also the extra special collectible in the form of golden kiwi statues. There's 4 of them. I managed to find 2. Like, not sure what happens when you get them all, because when you beat the game, it unlocks all the bonus content, which I admittedly did not check out. Because, like I said, I found this game fairly amusing, but, not enough to really spend more time on it.
It's one of those, it would have been more amusing to, like, 5 or 10-year-old you than X number of years you.
Something like that, yeah. I would say that this is a really good game for kids. Small children especially, because, especially since it's got a lot of what we would call anti-frustration features.
Yeah.
And, obviously, the character designs and a problem might be the aesthetics, though, because, it's intentionally looking like a Nintendo 64 game, except without the blur.
Yeah.
But, my point is, it's a retro low poly affair. It's being aimed at people who grew up on the platformers in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how hard of a sell it would be to an 8-year-old.
At least to a modern 8-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. I would, honestly, I would have to ask my niece and nephews about such things. To gauge any kind of response in that direction. But there is a not a non-zero chance that children could reject this because of the low poly stuff, because it doesn't look. Because I know how children are. I know how I was as a kid. Like, because when I saw something that was in black and white, I passed it over because it was, it looked old.
Right.
Like, and this is doubly so because not only is it low poly, it's 4x3.
Yeah.
So, it's like 4x3 is the new black and white or sepia tone. It's something that's now visual shorthand for ye olden times. And yes, you are all going to crumble to dust now.
Bye.
Anyway, as far as the music goes, it's pretty. Once again, it's pretty good. It's not going to rival Spyro or Banjo or any of the greats, but it's work and it's all theme appropriate. It's just I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it outside of the setting of the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fair enough. Not everything has to be a soundtrack.
Yep.
Anyway, so in terms of pricing, it falls in line with other Asiatrico platformers in that it is very, very, very cheap. This one clocks in at $2, $1.99. So we're in what I like to call cup of coffee territory. It's like even if it's bad, it literally costs less than most cups of coffee at my local convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, it's good. So you'll probably get your $2 worth. Unless once again, I think the biggest caveat is if you're looking for an actual challenge of some sort, you should be looking towards Super Kiwi or Tori.
Yeah.
If you want an ultra cheap platformer with some kind of teeth to it. Anyway, so are there any questions, comments, or concerns over Macbat 64 here?
Not that I can tell. Game's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, then. So, yeah, that'll about do it for this game. Be sure to tune in after the break as Petty will be reviewing Sonic Superstars. This may be a long one.